What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop and welcome to a more interesting, speculative, relaxed type of video. I've been having some thoughts on things going on in Pokemon the last couple days that I thought were interesting, but I really didn't think they were enough to make a video out of, but I started thinking about them a little bit more over the weekend and decided it was worth at least some decent speculation and it was just fun to talk about. Now, what we're going to be discussing in this video in particular is Detective Pikachu and Generation 8 and whether or not they will have some sort of connection. Now, while I'm not going to call this a theory because I don't really think the evidence is quite compelling enough to give it the theory status, I do think it is a very interesting piece of speculation, and speculation is always fun, especially when we're right on the cusp of a new generation, so I simply am going to, in this video, tell you guys how I think that Detective Pikachu, both the games and the movie, could possibly be connected in some way to Generation 8, and there could kind of be some sort of link between those two topics. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and just get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to bring up on a possible link between Detective Pikachu and Generation 8 is that the Detective Pikachu movie is coming out on May 10th, which is literally going to be right on the cusp of Generation 8's reveal. I have talked in the past how I think that Generation 8 is going to be revealed sometime in May or early June, and to be honest with you, I think the release date of Detective Pikachu makes that even more likely. The reason I say this is because both Generation 8 and the Detective Pikachu movie are absolutely huge deals for the Pokemon Company, and they're both coming out in the same year as well, and one is being released at presumably around the same time that the other is going to be revealed. So because these things matter to Pokemon so much, it doesn't really make sense for them to basically put them out at the exact same time and sort of have them compete against one another for attention. The Pokemon Company are extremely smart when it comes to marketing, and if they are to be believed in terms of the whole Meltan reveal / leak in Pokemon Go was actually intentional, then they're even smarter at the whole marketing thing than we initially thought. So obviously going into this year when they are fully aware that we've got Detective Pikachu and Generation 8 both coming out, it makes all of the sense in the world to basically have these two properties, specifically Detective Pikachu with Generation 8, kind of cross-promote each other and even have Detective Pikachu, since it's coming out first, promote the Generation 8 game and get that wider audience interested in Pokemon again just in time for the release of the Generation 8 games come the holiday season of 2019. Another connection I have kind of noticed with Detective Pikachu and Generation 8 is that Detective Pikachu is a detective game, and not only that, Pikachu himself in the game and the movie is wearing the classic detective Sherlock Holmes type of hat, which, even though it might be just a slight amount, has a little bit of British and English flavor to it, even if it is just a little bit. And this is rather coincidental given the significant rumors that the region of Generation 8 is going to be based on England and the UK, and those rumors really have had nothing to do with the presence of the Detective Pikachu game. So both of these coming out in roughly the same time, kind of like I said, is a significant coincidence. Now, even though this flavor is more applicable to the games than the movie, because the movie has a more futuristic, universal type of feel to it, especially within the main setting of the movie, Rhyme City, there is actually a major connection to England and the UK for the Detective Pikachu movie specifically, as some of the principal production for the movie was done in London, and some of it was also filmed in Scotland as well, which is a very, once again, big coincidence with all of this other England, UK, Gen 8 region hubbub that's been going around recently. Speaking of Rhyme City is the central location for both the Detective Pikachu movie and game, and when I first heard the name Rhyme City, it stood out to me in particular because it carries the same naming convention of cities and towns that we see in the main series games. And certain things within the main series, or at least the main series world, if you will, are also mentioned within Detective Pikachu, such as Pokemon contests, Pokemon Rangers, and even the Alola region, all of which implies that Rhyme City is also located somewhere within the main Pokemon world, or the canon Pokemon world if you prefer. So even though all of this doesn't confirm whatsoever that we'd ever see Rhyme City within a main series Pokemon game, it does heavily imply that it does exist within the main canon world of Pokemon. And with all of these other coincidental rumors that are also flying around, who's to say that we could not see Rhyme City as an actual city within the region of Generation 8, if that region does so happen to be based on the UK. Another thing about the name of Rhyme City that stood out to me almost instantly is that the word rhyme within the name is not spelled the more traditional way that the word rhyme is spelled, and instead is spelled R-Y-M-E instead of the more traditional R-H-Y-M-E. Given this rather unique spelling, I decided to look up and see if this name or this word had any English connection given all of our other English coincidences and connections, and sure enough, there is actually a town in England known as Rhyme Intriseca. Now, there is a bit of a disclaimer here because this town is small. It only has a population of 115, which is absolutely puny compared to the metropolis of Rhyme City that we see in the Detective Pikachu movie and game. However, we're not really looking at this town in terms of being the direct inspiration for Rhyme City, and instead we're looking at what it can tell us about what the word rhyme, spelled R-Y-M-E, could actually mean, and as a matter of fact, it actually tells us a lot. The word rhyme, as it is spelled in Rhyme City, comes from the Old English word rima, which means an edge or a border, which is actually very significant in the context of the Pokemon franchise, because as we talked earlier, the Detective Pikachu movie is basically coming out on the edge or the border or the cusp, if you will, of Generation 8, and even if we look at the game, which came out in 2016, which is definitely not the edge of Generation 8, but it came out in early February, which was actually on the very edge and the cusp of the announcement of Generation 7, which came only a few weeks later. So once again, it's hard to say whether or not this was intentional, but it's definitely a very, very significant coincidence, especially considering all of the other connections that we have made thus far. And finally, we are going to take a look at the main character of Detective Pikachu, aside from Detective Pikachu himself, and that would be Tim Goodman. Now, Tim Goodman is a fairly normal kid with an even more normal name, and the name Tim Goodman in particular could very, very, very easily come from England. As a matter of fact, there is actually an actor named Tim Goodman who is actually from England who also acted in the Doctor Who TV show. Now, in case you didn't know, Doctor Who is a very popular TV show that has literally been running for decades that is actually based in Great Britain, so it itself is also an English-based franchise. And to kind of just put a cherry on top to this whole situation, the Doctor Who franchise actually already has a connection to Pokemon, as the character Looker, who was introduced in Pokemon Platinum and has been used very heavily and very significantly in every generation since, bears a striking resemblance and is most likely based on David Tennant's version of the Doctor in Doctor Who. And even though Looker doesn't really have anything to do with the Detective Pikachu movie or game, just the simple fact that he kind of weaves his way into this whole English connection to Pokemon and to Detective Pikachu so seamlessly well, and he's already an established part of the main series Pokemon games, once again is just a very big coincidence, and once again, even though I'm not calling it a theory, just all seems a little bit too good to really just not mean something more, and it'll be very, very interesting to see if any of these possible connections actually pan out when we learn what Generation 8 is truly all about. And there we have it, everybody. That is my speculation, if you will, on a possible connection between Detective Pikachu and Generation 8. Now, I want to be very clear that this is not meant to be taken super seriously as a legitimate prediction or anything like that. I simply just wanted to put it on the record and put it out there just in case some sort of connection was revealed, because like I said, I've been thinking about this for a while and it's all very interesting to me, so I just wanted to share it with you guys as well. If you guys enjoyed the video though, be sure to give it a like and let me know down in the comments below what you think of all of these coincidences and if you think there is actually anything to them. If you're new to the channel as well, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and if you like Pokemon remixes, consider following me on Spotify because that is a great way to support the channel as well. With all of that being said though, I will be back on Thursday for another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified as soon as it goes live, and with all of that being said, I will smell you guys later.